is completely reliant on its geographic set, and it's here because of the river and the bluffs. Actually, 5 rivers. 3 come in right here, 2 are coming in south of us. At the beginning, about 2.5 million years ago, there was a geological quirk that happened in this that made La Crosse what La Crosse is. Also, they would cut in northern Wisconsin. It was all white pine up there. They would cut that pine, float it down the Black, which comes in straight up that end of the park. And then there were lumber mills and so on the north side of town, and also shipbuilding areas, and then float her on down the river. Gideon and Ellen Hickson were of the lumber barons. The lumber barons, very few people made a great deal of money and brought in immigrant labor from all over the world. So you have German enclaves here, they're very strong. You have the Irish enclave, the Scottish enclave, they're all here. And the Hicksons, when they built this house, the Hicksons built on what was then the edge of town. It was kind of their country home. The Army Corps came in about 1920 and dredged it all out and put the main channel over there. The first people that stayed here was a young man named Nathan Myrick, who started a fur trading post.
This is City Hall. They consider it to be Stalin-esque architecture. We agree. This is the Hickson house, built in 1858. It says 1856. Maybe that's when they started construction. The owner died in 1813, and it's been left the same way. I don't think. The exterior of the house, and there's a nice garden over there. This is a nice little cut flower garden. It's the other side of the garden. Really nice. This house got added on to 2 or 3 times. That was the carriage house. No pictures were allowed inside, but I found a couple to share from the internet.
Most bars per capita of any street in the world, it's in the Guinness Book of World Records. You can start at one end and work your way down. These old buildings and putting up ugly new buildings, Stalinist buildings, what we need to do is maintain this facade, because this is beautiful architecture. And so there's been a very, very strong movement in that direction. What you're going into now is the heart of the red light district. The turn of the century, we had lumbering, railroading, prostitution. Those were the 3 top things you could do here. You see like this one with the windows hanging out, those are probably brothels. Most of this street and down that way were all brothels. The ladies would sit in those windows and advertise, and then the gentlemen would go, oh, that one looks good, and head up there. Directly ahead of us, that is the site of Heileman's Brewery, process of being repainted. And oh
yeah, they were talking about that.
Yeah, it's huge. The storage tanks here.
1858, Gottlieb Heilemann and his partner John Gunn founded the City Brewery. In 1890, it became the G. Heilemann Brewing Company. They survived Prohibition but sold in 1996. Today, Pabst owns the brewery and sells old style and special export under the G. Heilemann name.
The ice in Antarctica are considered the 2 oldest rivers on the planet. Neat.
The glaciers didn't get here, so the bluffs are some of the oldest, or the oldest land.
The other thing it means, we have species of plant and snail up on top of these bluffs that are not found anywhere else on the planet because they are pre-glacial. Kind of cool. January, February, it's, that's not going to stay that way for a long time, but you get at least a good week of that minus double digits crap every January or February. Whatever falls in November is usually still there in May, and then you add about 4 inches a month on top of it. Yeah, it's not stock feed anymore, it's ethanol. And though the stalks will be cut up and either used for green silage, green cutter.
This is Grandad Bluff overlooking La Crosse and the Mississippi River. Mrs. Hickson, we were in her house. She's a conservator of Grandad's Bluff. There were people here 13,500 to 11,000 years ago. The swamplands over here protect the area from flooding. 3 colleges in town. There's one of them. The downtown's down there. Here's a corner of the bluff. Mrs. Hickson saved all of this from being quarried. Some quarrying here. They had some bad fires in 1857 and 1867, and so they made all the buildings out of brick or stone. Blasted the stone loose and got it down, quarried it all, and so they could build the houses. That did get stopped.
This is the Jewish cemetery. This is the Catholic cemetery. The other is over on the Crosse Street by the university.
Oh my, they've been putting people here for a long time.
Right over here was a lumber baron by the name of, and I love this name, Nymphus Holway. Good old Nymphy. He has 17 different kinds of wood in there, and it's beautiful. And it's been completely restored and is now a B&B. So when you come back, you can stay there. And it's run by 2 incredibly funny guys named Brendan and Billy, to a tune of about $125,000. Well, I think he has some influence in the area. Yeah, he's from not too far down the road. Name, but everybody in La Crosse simply calls it the Flower House because it has looked like that since 1973 that I know of. With semi-precious stones and river pearls
Bar
down on the corner.
area was a red light district.
All right, it's got some good restaurants in here too. Obviously, brothels in through here. And this weekend it's working. Yeah. Here's the Cheesehead store.
When it's in?
If you want Wisconsin-based things.
That's where I got my postcards.
They have a great coffee house, ice cream parlor, the Grand Hotel that goes upstairs. That was a brothel. Yep, waffle cones, they make them. And Satori Arts down here on the corner, that's the place with the great jewelry. Behind this building. The one coming up there, coming down this way, is the Black River. That's where they used to float the logs down. And then, of course, the Mississippi is the big channel.
325 was commissioned in February 1943. Well, and next to the LST is the Viking Mississippi line, and they expect on this weekend about 40,000 people to visit this ship. In 1943, they headed to Algeria, then made several trips to Sicily, unloading vehicles and men. Then it was Salerno for 4 trips, and then off to England to prepare for D-Day. They were part of the backup force landing troops and vehicles on Omaha Beach. Decommissioned in 1946, she was twice reactivated before being decommissioned for the 3rd time in 1999.